Hey everyone, pull up a chair because this story is raw, real, and honestly one of the most transformative things that's ever happened to me. Imagine being in your early 30s, married to the guy you thought would cheer you on forever, and ordinary Tuesday night, he just laughs at the dream you've been nurturing for years. That's exactly how my nightmare began. David and I met back in college at the University of Illinois. I was the art major, always doodling in notebooks during lectures, sketching logos, branding concepts, anything creative that popped into my head. He was the business student with big plans, confident, charismatic, the kind of guy who could talk his way into any room. We fell hard and fast. Late night study sessions turned into weekend road trips, then graduation. Then a small wedding in a backyard with string lights and our closest friends. We moved to Chicago, rented a tiny apartment in Logan Square, and started building what I thought was our forever. He landed a job at a marketing firm, climbing fast. I freelanced as a graphic designer, taking on small projects while supporting him through long hours and stressful deadlines. We were a team more, so I thought. The first cracks appeared when his promotions started rolling in. First junior account manager, then senior, then director. With each title came a bigger salary, nicer suits, networking events, but also attitude. He'd come home exhausted and snap. Your little freelance stuff is cute, but it's not paying for this lifestyle. I'd laugh it off, thinking he was just tired. Then the comments got sharper. At dinner with friends, he'd say things like, "She's got these big dreams of her own studio, but let's be honest, who's really bringing in the money?" People would chuckle awkwardly, and I'd force a smile, feeling my cheeks burn. Inside, it hurt. I started second-guessing every sketch, every pitch email. Was I really just playing around? Was I holding him back? I tried to talk to him about it. One evening, after a particularly rough day where a client rejected my proposal, I showed him my business plan, a detailed roadmap for launching my own design studio. I'd spent months on it, market research, budget projections, even mood boards for potential branding. I was proud. He glanced at the pages, chuckled, and said, "Babe, come on, you're dreaming too big. Stick to what you know, you're not cut out for running a company." That's my world. It felt like a slap. I remember standing there in our kitchen, papers trembling in my hands, tears stinging my eyes. "You used to believe in me," I whispered. He shrugged. People change. Reality hits. The mockery became routine. He'd roll his eyes when I worked late on client projects, call my income pocket change, make jokes about my hobby in front of his colleagues. Each word eroded my confidence a little more. I stopped sharing my wins with him. I stopped believing in them myself. Then came the night that broke everything. It was a rainy Thursday in October. David walked in, suit wrinkled, face serious. "We need to talk." My stomach dropped. He sat on the couch, looked me straight in the eye, and said, "I'm leaving. I can't do this anymore. You're holding me back with your dreams and your lack of ambition. I need someone who matches my level, who understands what success really looks like." He listed reasons, my unrealistic goals, how I didn't contribute enough financially, how he felt trapped. Then the killer, "You're broke without me. Good luck figuring it out." He packed a suitcase that night, left half our savings drained from his investments gone wrong, and walked out. The door clicked shut, and I collapsed on the floor, sobbing so hard I could barely breathe. The man who'd promised to love me forever had just called me worthless and abandoned me with debt, doubt, and an empty apartment. The first few months were brutal. I barely slept. I'd wake up reaching for him, then remember. Bills piled up, mortgage, credit cards we'd shared. I sold what I could, took a part-time job at a coffee shop near Wicker Park, steaming lattes while forcing smiles for customers. Nights were the worst. Alone in bed, replaying his words, wondering if he was right. Friends rallied. My sister flew in from Milwaukee, brought wine and hugs, reminded me I wasn't broken. But the self-doubt was loud. Therapy became my lifeline. My counselor, a kind woman named Alina, listened without judgment. His mockery wasn't about your talent, she said. It was his fear that you'd outshine him. She helped me journal the pain, reframe the narrative. You are not your husband's opinion of you. Slowly, I started small acts of rebellion against his voice in my head. I took free online courses in entrepreneurship and advanced design software. I reached out to old college contacts, offered discounted services to build a portfolio. My first real freelance client was a local bakery needing a logo refresh. I poured everything into it. They loved it, referred me to 3 more businesses. Money was tight, but each paycheck felt like defiance. I opened a separate savings account, labeled it my future. I started a side blog, anonymous posts about overcoming doubt, chasing dreams. Despite naysayers, people commented, shared their stories. It gave me purpose. Year 1 was survival. Year 2 was momentum. I quit the coffee shop, went full-time freelance. Clients, grew restaurants, startups, even a nonprofit. I saved aggressively, invested in index funds thanks to podcasts and books, learned about stocks. By year 3, I had enough to rent a tiny shared office space in the West Loop. I hired my first assistant, a talented recent grad named Mia. We landed our first major contract, rebranding a mid-sized tech company. The check cleared, and I cried. In the bathroom, not from sadness, but pride. I was doing it. Without him, because of the fire he lit, life kept unfolding beautifully. I met Mark at a design conference in Austin. He was a software engineer with a gentle laugh and zero ego. Our first date was coffee that turned into a 4-hour walk around Lady Bird Lake. He asked about my studio, listened intently, said, "That's incredible. Tell me more." No mockery, just genuine interest. We fell in love slowly, honestly. He proposed on a quiet hike in Door County, Wisconsin's Simple Ring. Simple, yes. We married in a small ceremony with 30 people, string lights, and Lily, our adopted daughter, who came into our lives 2 years later as the flower girl in photos we treasure. The studio exploded in year 5. We moved to a bigger space, hired 5 more people, expanded into product design and digital marketing. I wrote a book, Unmocked, Turning Doubt into Drive. It hit bestseller lists in self-help and business categories. Speaking gigs followed, TED Talks, women's conferences. I started retreats, weekend getaways where women shared stories of being dismissed, then learned tools to rebuild confidence. Every session felt like healing my younger self. 7 years after he left, everything converged. At a massive industry conference in New York, the kind with thousands of attendees, bright lights, big stages, I was keynote speaker, from mocked to mogul. My journey. The room was packed. Halfway through, during Q&A, a hand went up in the back. The voice was familiar, hesitant. "I have a question for the speaker." I looked up. David, older, thinner, eyes shadowed. My heart skipped, but I stayed composed. "Go ahead," I said, after the talk. He waited in the lobby. Sarah. Wow, I didn't expect this. We found a quiet corner. He looked defeated. His company, the one he'd chased after leaving me, was collapsing. Poor leadership, lost accounts, debt mounting. He was facing layoffs, possibly bankruptcy. "I was wrong," he said, voice cracking. "I mocked your dreams because I was terrified you'd succeed without me. I see you on stage, owning the room, and I regret everything. Please, help me. Buy us out, save my job, I'm begging." The lobby was busy, people milling around. He literally dropped to his knees, tears streaming. "I know I hurt you. I know I don't deserve it. But for old times, please." I felt everything. The old pain, flashing, anger, pity, but mostly, peace. I knelt down, met his eyes, helped him stand. David, I said calmly, I forgive you. Truly. Not because you earned it, but because carrying that hurt was poisoning me. I've let it go. Then I told him, months ago, through careful investments and acquisitions, my company bought a controlling stake in yours. It wasn't revenge, it was business. But yes, I own it now. His face went pale. You'll have a position? If you want it, I continued. But earn it. Show up, do the work, and get help. Therapy changed my life. It can change yours too. He nodded, stunned, wiping his face. I walked away head high, no anger, just quiet strength. Whispers followed me through the crowd. Later, colleagues asked if I was okay. I smiled. Better than okay. Today, my empire thrives, multiple offices, 40 employees, global clients, the book in its third printing. Mark and I have a beautiful home in the suburbs, Lily's laughter echoing everywhere, weekend adventures, real partnership. David, he's still at the company working diligently, in therapy, slowly rebuilding. We don't speak often, his path is his. Mine is gratitude for the pain that pushed me, the strength I found, the life I created. The most amazing part. Turning his mockery into my motivation didn't just give me success, it gave me freedom. Freedom from doubt, from needing validation, from bitterness. If someone mocks your dreams, let it fuel you. Rise so high they have to look up. And when they do, you can choose grace. That's real power. If this resonates, if you've been dismissed, left broke, or clawed your way back, share in the comments. Your story matters. You've got this. Thanks for listening.